Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's get started with some two-voice practice. And we will start with the defense for a little warm-up. Ready? It was your decision to either land the aircraft in the United States or to go on to Europe, is that correct? It was my decision, yes. In order to make that decision, you have to have certain information. Yes. You needed to know whether the airframe was damaged? Yes. You needed to consider whether you had excessive weight on board in order to land? Yes. You needed to know, among other things, the condition of the passengers aboard the aircraft? Yes. I take it that you asked Mr. Sims to check and to give you his opinion of the condition of the passengers aboard the aircraft? Certainly. You eventually learned from Mr. Sims that there was a doctor aboard? Yes. You wanted to know what his opinion was of the injuries aboard the aircraft? Yes, it is a general rule in the case of an accident on board to ask whether there is a doctor on board in order to be able to ask his opinion. In this case, Dr. Brand came forward gratuitously without our calling him. You did not inquire of Dr. Brand whether he thought the airplane ought to be landed? No. Instead, you asked him whether the passengers were seriously injured. Is that correct? I am in charge of the plane. If there is a doctor on board, he takes charge of the injured, and it is his opinion that helps me to make my decision. When Mr. Sims reported to you, what did he advise you that Dr. Brand had said? Try to say this as close as you can, word for word, the way it was said to you. I couldn't tell it very precisely, but I can only tell you that he didn't tell me that I had to land the plane. So you don't recall what Mr. Sims said to you word for word today? No. Hopefully you're warmed up. Let's now practice some four-voice. And we will start with defense. Do you work at the premises at the current time? In the beginning, yes, sir. At present, do you work there? No. Have you ever worked there? Yes, sir. And when have you worked there? In the beginning, I was working on the weekends and have different bartenders during the weekdays, sir. And is there a time and point where you came to a place where you wouldn't work there anymore? Yes, sir. When was that? I'd say starting in the beginning of, well, I'd say 5 years ago, probably, 2000 or something like that. I started getting violent coughing. Okay, and I couldn't stop it. And the reason you couldn't work at the location anymore is because you mentioned you have a condition of chronic or constant coughing. Yes. And anything else? And later on, to stop that, I had surgery to tighten up the opening in my stomach. They thought the gas was acid was eating my esophagus, and that didn't work. Okay, and the result? Go ahead. That didn't work, and I've been having this coughing for about 5-6 years now. And as a result of these things, are you under medical care? Yes, sir. And how long have you been under medical care for these various problems? I'm still under medical care. When did you start? Oh gosh, I'd say about a year and a half ago this all started, and I noticed that you came to the stand with the aid of crutches. What is the reason for that? My knees. It was painful to walk. At night when I'm sleeping, the pain would wake me up, so I had to see an orthopedic surgeon doctor. Okay, has the orthopedic doctor done something with your knees? No, my doctor gave me an x-ray, but the doctor said I have to get an MRI. Have you had doctor's advice with regard to your ability to work at the business known as the Horseshoe? No, I didn't tell him I had a bar. Has your doctor recommended that you not work? Well, not really. Are you personally able to work? Not now, no. And during the year 2005, and specifically the periods of the last half, July through October of 2005, were you able to work at the bar? No. And how is the bar operated during that period? I had Linda Olson. She lives just about half a block away. I come in the daytime in the mornings. I check things out and ask if everything is okay, any problems, any troubles, and I go to my office, and then if everything's going smoothly, then I probably do it once. Then I go home and take a rest. Is the Horseshoe your sole source of income? Yes, sir. Do you have income from any other sources other than the Horseshoe? Social Security. Are you able to live? Would you be able to live on just your Social Security? I'll object, Your Honor. Hold on. If there is an objection, you don't answer until I rule on the objection. How would that be relevant? I'm just trying to indicate why he continued operating the bar in light of his medical condition, but I'll withdraw the question. I think it's all right, pretty well known that people can't live on their Social Security. That's why I still work, by the way. Sir, have you given your employees any training with regard to what their responsibilities are while working for you? Yes, sir. And with regard to laws concerning the dispensing of alcoholic beverages, have you given them specific training as to that? Yes, especially cleanliness behind the bar and the refrigerated area and sanitizer. How about have you given them training with regard to serving alcohol to people that are intoxicated? Yes, I told them. I said the best way to do it is just quietly refuse to serve them. And training with regard to people that might not be old enough to drink? I told them to check for IDs. Yes, sir. And have you made any reference to your employees as to training activities such as gambling, prostitution, drug activities? Yes, sir. I said no drugs, no gambling. I said they can play the pool table, but no gambling. What have you done? Have you sent them to any classes or any schooling? I sent the new ones to LACC. They have a class on bartending. Is that a class on how to make drinks, or is it a class on their legal responsibilities with regard to serving alcohol? Well, making drinks and how to conduct themselves and things like that. The investigator testified that there was a sign in the business that indicated something to the effect that no drug sales, no drug use or sales allowed. Did you have such a sign? Yes. Why was that in there? I just wanted to make sure that I didn't want no drug dealings in there or use in my premises. And with regard to Linda, you say you had her run the bar for you? Yes, sir. She helped me. She used to own the bar. And did you and she talk on a regular basis about what was happening in the bar? Yes, sir. Did she ever give you any indications that there were any problems? No, sometimes a guy would start a fight and she'd tell me, so-and-so had a fight in here yesterday. Did she ever tell you there were any drug problems? No, sir. Did you ever ask her? I didn't ask her, no, sir. I had the sign out there, so I thought the people understood. Do you know somebody named Ron that was a regular customer in your bar? Yes, sir. Do you know him to be Ron Diaz? Now I know his last name. I never did know his last name. Did you ever have any suspicion that he was doing anything with regard to drugs at the location? No, he'd come in and have a drink, a beer or two, casual, and talk with people. And that will conclude our Q&A practice.